Hello, Bleeding Edge subscribers. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. Now, look, last week we talked about the next trillion-dollar opportunity in the stock market. It's an opportunity so great that I believe it could end up being like an early investor in Bitcoin or AI. I mean, that's worked out great. And that's because there's no company that's a clear leader in the field. And this is great news for you as an investor because we're likely to see several companies go from startup stage to multi-billion dollar valuation, maybe even trillion-dollar valuation just over the next couple of years. And in many ways, it's really easy to see and understand this because robotics and automation, that's going to help fill jobs that are dangerous, that are undesirable, and that are in demand. Companies that have trouble filling these jobs will become more productive and potentially more profitable as well. And here's maybe the most important thing. It's going to help bring back industries such as manufacturing away from countries like China and other low-cost labor countries back here to the United States. But look, it's still far away. I believe probably several years at best. These humanoid robots, they need to be developed, they need to be tested, they need to be manufactured and adopted in a major way for any of this to happen. And there's always a risk that it never happens. But today, we're going to be talking about a technology on the horizon that is already in use right now and will quickly be adopted even more in the coming years. In fact, this technology will be required to help keep the technology revolution like AI on a sustainable path going forward. But unlike robotics, this is actually not easy to see the need for and to really understand the benefit. So to understand why this is a great investment opportunity, we have to go inside the data center where AI applications like ChatGPT come to life. Take, for example, Microsoft's massive new data center in Goodyear, Arizona. This thing is huge. It's like a 280-acre facility, but it's not just any data center. It was specifically designed for Microsoft for the Microsoft-funded OpenAI investment. So it plays a critical role in supporting not only cloud computing, but artificial intelligence initiatives like projects like ChatGPT, which are incredibly important for Microsoft's future business. Now, a key concern, though, has surfaced in the data center's water usage. That's right. According to an article in The Atlantic published earlier this month, the center is expected to consume, get this, 56 million gallons of drinking water annually. 56 million gallons. To give you like a little perspective on this, that's the equivalent of the yearly usage of approximately 670 families in Goodyear, Arizona, where the facility is located. So if you're not already kind of aware, data centers are energy and resource intensive operations. On one end, you've got a massive number of computer chips in there, and they require large amounts of electricity just to operate. Now, at the same time, these power-hungry chips from NVIDIA, AMD, Broadcom, they also generate heat, okay? And so the more heat these chips generate, the more the performance level of these chips actually drops. And so there's also a risk that the computer chips get so hot that you get catastrophic failure, like a blowout or a fire. Okay, so the traditional way of keeping the inside temperature cool enough so you get high performance and you don't get failure is through an elaborate combination of fans and air-conditioned water. So Microsoft's Goodyear facility is just, look, it's just one of hundreds of these types of data centers worldwide. And the reality is these data centers are inherently resource intensive. But not only that, most of these technology companies, they're going to get up and tout these environmental targets to become, put this in air quotes, carbon neutral within the next decade. But as Microsoft has pointed out in their own research, purchasing clean energy is not the same as physically consuming clean energy. So to give you an example of this, that's because companies like Microsoft can purchase clean energy credits and contribute to clean energy products and projects like solar energy and wind and water reclamation in other parts of the world. Then they use that energy and water in those locations to offset the usage in places like Goodyear, Arizona. So the reality is, in Goodyear, Arizona, their energy and water can be depleted by Microsoft, but the giant corporation can sit back and claim it's meeting its environmental goals because it's offsetting its usage hundreds or even thousands of miles away. I tell you what, the backlash these trillion-dollar corporations are going to face, it's only just beginning. With AI applications growing in popularity and usage by the day, it means more data centers and more research is going to be having to use to keep them cool. Luckily, cooling technology that doesn't require millions of gallons of water already exists, and it's being implemented in more data centers. I believe that in a few years, the method of evaporating water and using traditional air conditioners, that's going to be used less and less. So when I was at the Consumer Electronics Show back in January in Las Vegas, I saw the two leading ways to cool servers firsthand. I got to kind of touch and feel it. It was awesome. The first and most popular method is likely going to catch on is direct cooling on the computer chips themselves. Essentially, you have a synthetic liquid that is cooled and it's circulated on top of the chip that is actively getting hot. A second method is actually submerging the entire server into a liquid. Now, this method is extremely effective and has been used and tested by Microsoft and others, but it's likely not something that's going to be used in really large facilities that a lot of these AI companies require. Now, fortunately, we saw this trend early at Brownstone Research. Our team recommended one of the leaders in server technology to our subscribers of Exponential Tech back in September. Shares of that company are already up almost 90% since that recommendation. So congrats if you're a subscriber and you acted on that recommendation. Going forward though, I see server cooling as one of the most important aspects of this AI revolution that simply doesn't get talked about enough. So not only, and look, it's not only from an environmental perspective, but also from a performance perspective and a long-term sustainable standpoint. Computer chip cooling needs to evolve away from using millions of gallons of water. And I think public pressure and the evolution of the technology is going to lead us to a better path. Folks, that was the Bleeding Edge for today. We'll be back again later this week. Thanks for being a subscriber. I'll see you again soon.